Hello, Zeb Aurelios from Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Inside the Force. Carabas. Gotta go, Hera's here.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
What's up, everyone? Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
And this is the day long remembered.
This very much is. Oh my gosh. Wait, 2 years?
Yes. Episode 8 is upon us. We are going to be watching The Last Jedi here tonight. We are recording this, obviously, the night before. This is our traditional night before the movie where we lay out, Casey and I, basically our full predictions of the film. This is a different series that we've done this year. This is kind of our third podcast regarding the film. Last week, over the weekend, we did our expectations of the movie, where we just talked about things we expect, how things will fall, and what we want to see, and stuff like that. And then I had the guys over one night, Russ, Anthony, and Cody, and kind of got their thoughts and feelings about the film. Yep. And now we are back together talking about our predictions, actually what we think we are fully going to see and how we feel like these characters are going to end up. We did, I feel like, Case, we did a good job with The Force Awakens, actually.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
I think so. Yep.
And, but I do feel like we had a lot more information at the time. Similar to the Rogue One, although Rogue One was a little skewed because a lot of the trailers ended up not making the movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not our fault.
No. yeah. So, just real quick, do you think that is the case at all in this movie? Do you think there's stuff in the trailer that's not going to make the film?
I think there probably is a little bit. Even in Force Awakens, there was some stuff from the trailers that didn't make it into the movie. And you would think that a guy like J.J. Abrams has a pretty good say in the final cut of his movie, to where he wouldn't, I wouldn't see him as a guy who has a lot of deleted scenes. But I don't see that the case for Rian Johnson either, though. Mainly because it sounds like Disney is in love with absolutely everything that he does.
And I haven't heard of hardly anything about reshoots for this movie.
Yeah, correct. That's right. And actually, reshoots kind of go into some of my speculation of what potentially could happen with Leia. But no, we never heard of reshoots. And I think if we heard of reshoots, there would have been rumors of this is like reshooting stuff with Leia. But yeah, you're right. We didn't hear anything with that.
No.
So, but overall, though, this movie has had such a tight lip on everything, way more so than Force Awakens, because we got so many. I feel like minor leaks with Force Awakens.
Correct.
Then and in this movie, I can't think of anything really not much stuff early on, but nothing in the last few months.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've did an incredible job of hiding this film and keeping it secret. Now, of course, there's things out on social media that are kind of spoiling things if you look for it. But
there's some reviews out there.
Yeah, you just got to stay away from it if you don't want to know anything.
Yeah.
So as we kind of dive in right away, I think the big thing first thing I think we should talk about is kind of the overall flow of the film and where we see things landing as far as what we think we know.
Okay.
I think the big thing right now, which is kind of odd with this movie, which I'm very, very curious to see how it begins, because this is literally supposed to take place right after Episode 7. Whereas in
Right.
most films, we have at least a year gap. Some instances 10, 19 years, stuff like that. So my first thing to talk about is, do you think that now we kind of know that they reshot that scene with Ray and Luke?
Yeah.
Do you think that's actually re-shown at the beginning of this movie?
I do think an element of it is, honestly, because we were just talking before the show. I rewatched the first two official trailers that were released, the teaser and I guess they're
The full trailer.
second one, the full trailer. Yeah, that was released at Celebration, and I think I saw a shot where Ray was walking up to Luke again,
Yeah.
and it just made me think, like, when I was watching, like, and it's like what you just said, are we going to see at least a few seconds of that again? And I think we actually could get like a really brief little recap, maybe just of Ray, walk up the steps again. But I think we'll play with time a little bit. Like, we'll see some jump cuts to summarize kind of what happened. But
Yeah, I think it would be. I kind of think it would be somewhat wrong to see something we've already seen.
yeah,
So what I think is going to happen, what I feel like is going to happen, because obviously we're going to get a crawl, and the crawl is what I don't think is going to happen is I don't think the crawl is going to come down and then you're going to see the Falcon show up to Octu, right? I think that we're going to see something. I think we're going to see something with the First Order first, which I think is going to be. I feel like it's going to be Kylo Ren being brought back to Snoke, to the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like the movie is going to open, and then I think it's going to cut to where we left off of Episode 7, which is Rey and Luke having a conversation now.
Yeah.
Their first conversation. Like I think it's going to be her after she's handed him the lightsaber kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like, that would be, I don't know, that would kind of be like almost then you kind of feel like, well, which one's canon, or I mean, it's the same thing, but I mean, it's like that'd be weird. That'd just be weird to see that, but we may see it. I mean, like you said, because there's some imagery, the stills that they put out. There's still that imagery of Luke getting handed that lightsaber.
Yep.
Well, actually, no. So wait a minute. So he hasn't. Oh, I take that back. So in Episode 7, he actually didn't get handed the lightsaber.
No.
That's right. So we will see that exchange in this movie. I feel like. So I feel like it will pick up right where she's like has the lightsaber out to him.
Right.
So so they went back there obviously to conclude those scenes that JJ started.
So I mean, we've always been told that the Last Jedi is going to take place moments, minutes, whatever after Force Awakens. But are we technically, do you think, going to be backtracking a little bit? Because if we go to the First Order and we see a little bit of Kylo, and I was thinking the same thing. Like, Kylo talks to Snoke, that's where he smashes his helmet, and they get the orders to go attack Jakar. And then we cut to Luke and Rey. In a sense, we are going back a little bit to catch up to the present time.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the scene, if we see, if it happens, if we see Kylo returning back to the First Order, that I think that's taking place as the end of Force Awakens is happening. Where Finn is recovering and Rey's getting ready to get on the Falcon. So you're actually starting backwards a little bit. I agree with that. I think there's some overlay that's going to happen there. I think you have to, because again, I just don't think you can start the crawl, pan down from the crawl and see the Falcon approaching Octu again. Yeah.
Now one thing that, and actually I didn't listen to the previous episode. I hate to say that because I'm worried about what you guys have said based off some trailers that I haven't seen. But
Right.
Cody, I don't know if you mentioned in that episode, but Cody had a good theory. We talked about this tons of times, but where maybe we could see that moment in Force Awakens where Rey is landing and walking up the steps, but from Luke's perspective, where like Luke sees the Falcon landing, and he's kind of sitting there waiting for Rey to come to him.
That's
at that point.
not a bad idea.
So it's the same, but it's from it's like Batman versus Superman. It's like a different perspective. So a different point of view. So I could see that too.
I could see that.
That would be a cool possibility. But no, I'm kind of starting off here. I'm kind of with you where I think we could start with the First Order. It also makes sense because we all saw Jimmy Kimmel. We talked about this on the show, but Ryan Johnson even said on Jimmy Kimmel what the first word is.
Yes.
We're.
Yes.
And I keep thinking, okay, well, what who would say that, and what context would it be in? Of course, everybody's thinking that. So I think it could be Resistance saying like we're under attack.
Yeah.
Or it could be First Order, like saying something like that, like we're referring to some kind of military thing. But no, I agree though. I think that First Order, Kylo especially, because he'll get that little zipper bandage, whatever the heck that is, on his scar there. He'll get patched up really quickly to be put back out in the field to go attack the car.
Yeah. Okay, so where do you feel like the movie goes from there? Just kind of like scene by scene in a sense.
Well, it's so hard because I think I get the feeling that Last Jedi is way more so than what Force Awakens did in classic Star Wars fashion, where it's going to bounce around the galaxy from story to story. From like our three characters are going to split, Finn, Rey, and Poe, are having their own separate storylines essentially, and we're going to follow that. So it's hard for me to say like what order it happens. So I kind of go through what's Rey's entire story, what's Finn's entire story, and Poe's entire story. So I think,
or we can just kind of separate it by acts, maybe in a sense.
Yeah. So I think the first act. I think the bulk of the first act will be the attack on Dakar, and where we'll Finn will wake up at this point. Kylo will be kicking butt and taking names and have his moment with Leia, where he's about to where we see in the trailer where he contemplates destroying her. Get a little bit with Rey and Luke, and then might initialize the arc where Rey is kind of maybe pleading to Luke to come back. We're ready for you to come back, kind of thing. And Luke is starting to kind of resist her a little bit and reject that. So the first act is just setting up all these things, but you need to have that, like Empire, battle on Hoth, like Jedi, to battle on little skirmish on, with Jabba's barge. You have those big battles in the first act. So I think the car will be that first battle in the first act. But one little thing I kind of threw in there, which is based off a rumor that we got months ago about some scenes with Leia and Snoke. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Whew. Yeah.
Being captured. So I don't know how far it was carried. I don't think it was actually carried too far, but it sounded like it could have been a substantial rumor. So I kind of played with that a little bit and thought, okay, well, what if in that first act, Kylo doesn't kill Leia, but instead they capture Leia.
Yes.
And take her to Snoke, or maybe Leia, signals kind of like a parlay kind of thing, where it's like, she surrenders herself to be taken to Snoke, to maybe where they can talk and negotiate a little bit and have a little, because I think that's what the rumor was like. The rumor said, Leia and Snoke have like a really big conversation where they, show a little bit of battle of wits in a sense. They demonstrate each other's power or something like that. So I think it'd be kind of cool if the first act ended where the Battle of Dakar ends and Leia's captured or taken at least into custody by the First Order.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I do think the Battle of Dakar will happen right away. I think Kylo, loses the mask.
Yeah,
and I guess I didn't preface this in the beginning, but these are all potential spoilers. So anybody,
absolutely,
anybody that doesn't want to know,
be in the description.
We could be right. I mean, but
who knows?
Who knows?
Well, if you're like me and you just don't want the gears to be spinning at all.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's kind of why I've stayed away from a lot of stuff. They definitely stay away from this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So what would be cool is to listen afterwards to see how much we got right.
Yeah.
But if you are just waiting in line or gearing up to see this and you want to hear us, then go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all just speculation. But
Yeah. You can't sleep because you're so excited.
Yeah.
And just listen to us.
yeah. But I do think he loses the mask early. I think he, charges, leads the onslaught to Dakar as the resistance is evacuating. Now, I will bring up real fast Battlefront 2 today, the release of the new extended story of Iden Versio, which is fantastic. So we both played that real fast. It was kind of short, just It takes place during this time period. So it's been, Iden's older. You find out her and Dell got married and had a child, Zay, and Shriv, who is a resistance, is back in this resistance warrior that's back in this. What's his species? I can't remember.
Duros.
Oh, he's a Duro, so he's like Bane, Cat Bane, right?
Yeah.
So he's become a fan favorite. I hear.
Oh, he's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, he's great. So I don't want to give away too much in there, but what happens in that somewhat is that there's a mission that you accomplish that kind of leads itself into this movie.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to point out that you find out in that mission is that you kind of see the size of the First Order in that mission. Like you kind of get the sense. That's what kind of Iden is discovering, is that she's like, we need to find out more about the First Order to help the Resistance, because what has just happened is what happens in Episode 7, which is the Republic got destroyed.
Right.
So you kind of see this schematic of the galaxy and just all the occupation of where the First Order is, and it is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than I think people realize, and Hask, who is the character from original Inferno Squad, who's now part of the First Order, kind of, just reiterates what we should know, is that, they've been building this thing since the end of Jedi, basically,
Yeah.
So 30 years they've just in the shadows kind of rebuilt the Empire in a sense, the First Order. But anyway, so it's the reason why I want to say that is because I think this is a very, especially what happens in the First Order or in the Force Awakens, is that this is a very daunting task by the Resistance, and it almost really truly feels like we're back to Episode 4 in my mind. We are back to where the galaxy is full of the First Order and the Resistance is trying to free itself again.
Right, because the Resistance was not recognized by the Republic. So they were already like a small ragtag group of people.
Right.
And now they really are. Now there's no government now to support them at all because they're destroyed. So, they're the underdog kind of now.
Yes. This is very much almost like, a civil war again, where the First Order has taken over. They haven't necessarily established a government or been recognized as the leading government of the galaxy right now, but there is no chancellor, there's no senators. It's like it's chaos, even more so than Episode 4. So I think that the Resistance has to kind of regroup. And I think I'll go with you on that. I think Leia does get captured, or does something has happened with her, because I feel like there has to be something in that first act that leads into what ultimately I believe is going to be Luke's motivation to get back in the game.
Yeah.
And what better way to get back in the game than having to go save your sister?
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I feel like that's a good, a good storyline that makes sense. So if that happens, then Where does Act 2? What do you think feels like in Act 2 then?
Act 2 is a lot, I think, of the kind of the investigation, the training, where like you have. I mean, it's just that's where the big question mark is, though. You know, what all happens on the island with Luke and Rey? You know, we see Rey almost like taking it upon herself to train herself in a sense, where she's just kind of practicing with the lightsaber. You know, she finds it in the bag and she kind of plays around with it, and her and Luke kind of talk. And there's some heavy, really intense dialogue between Rey and Luke that we've seen. So I mean, I don't know the order like of all these shots that we've seen with Rey and Luke, where it's raining, it's dark, it's scary. You know, they're running around. There's this and that, and so what I kind of think overall is that Rey, keeps asking Luke to train her. He resists. He says no. Has his own reasons for that, and then we get into kind of the mythology maybe of the Jedi with the Book of the Wills, if that's really, I guess if that's what it is, if that's been confirmed or not on the island. But Rey starts to kind of do her own stuff. Luke catches on. And I think Luke is slowly pulled into starting to give Rey advice and like really guiding her a little bit here and there. And he gets more and more vulnerable to Rey and opens up to Rey to where, that moment where she's meditating on the rocks, Luke is guiding her through that, and I think maybe I was thinking like, Rey seems like Rey has a vision of something, and Luke obviously sees something in her that scares him, but maybe they even share a Force vision. Maybe they share one together, and Luke sees what Rey sees, and it's like a really scary future in a sense. And and we actually see what scares Luke, whatever vision that is. And so he defiantly rejects training Rey, and that makes her angry, pushes her away. And then I think at some point in there, though, Kylo, he's working with Snoke or whatever, but I think they, based on what their battle on Dakar, somehow they get the rest of the map. And that leads Kylo and the Knights of Ren to Octo. And there's a battle there with Luke and Rey and the Knights of Ren, causing Rey to go with Kylo, and Luke, R2, and Chewie taking the Falcon, and I guess meeting the Resistance on Crate. Meanwhile, Leia is still on Snoke's ship. Finn and Rose are doing their Canto Bite thing. I would say that since Leia's gone, Admiral Holdo is kind of taking the reign with Poe. Poe is also rising up.
Who's Laura Dern's character. Yeah.
Exactly. So Poe and Holdo are kind of leading the Resistance, taking them the crate, getting them prepared and ready for the inevitable battle. And tracking down Snoke and his dreadnought, and trying to find a way to attack it. And I guess, Canto Bite, I think how that might fit in, it's a casino, a lot of rich people. I think there's obviously some kind of First Order connection. So maybe that's like a big financial revenue supporter for the First Order, maybe. And they think like if they try to sabotage that or get information about that is a way to, if you get to the money, financial source of the First Order, you mess with their supplies, something like that. So
interesting. Yeah.
That's, I don't know. It's like, Rose is such a unique character now, where she's like doesn't fit in kind of thing. So how does she fit into that plot? What skills of her?
Well, she's some kind of tech maintenance.
She's a maintenance person. So maybe just her set of technical skills are required to hack into something. Probably, slice into something on Canto Bite, some records or whatever. And Finn, his knowledge of the First Order, so that's why he goes, perhaps. And I do not know how DJ fits in. I cannot even guess how he fits in to all this. But I mean, he's just a guy who transports them, smuggles them onto the planet. Maybe gives them cover for it. He's just hired out by the Resistance to give him, whatever credentials to get on Canto Bite. But that, go Cantabite, somehow that leads them to Crate. And I can't think of any other logical way to make that connection. But
so speaking of DJ real fast, I mean, do you remember the first rumors that we got of him was that he was a dark character?
Yeah.
Which I don't see that being true. Or
no, it's backed off a little bit. Like starting off, it's like, oh, he's a villain. He's a bad guy. He's a dark character. And even Benicio del Toro said that he was kind of a villain.
Yes.
So, but since that, it's come back with, it's like, oh, he's more of a scoundrel. He's more of that gray character.
And he looks like kind of a Han Solo type.
Exactly. So I think he's an anti-hero. I guess.
I agree.
He's a mean guy. He's a bad. He's not a villain. I wouldn't say unless he. Yeah, I can't see like.
I mean, he's almost like Lando. He's almost like Lando.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can't see him maybe, turning on him or being like a traitor. So I don't know. He's just kind of a shady character. I would imagine.
So so hearing all that, I literally just came up with this.
Okay.
This is what I feel like.
All right.
So here's the thing: is that I think that we got to remember that this thing is 2.5 hours long. Meaning that these acts are a lot longer.
Yeah.
Than just like 30, 40 minutes. I mean, we're almost 50 minutes an act, if you think about it. So, I think when, this whole thing about the car we talked about, I think the training that we've seen in the trailers, I still think that's actually Act 1. I think that's what we're going to cut back and forth to. So we're going to see Luke and Rey kind of struggle training, and she kind of does what you said, kind of goes on her own, because I think there's dialogue in one of the featurettes that they did. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it, where Rey talks about her Daisy talks about her training, her actual not training in the film, but actually practicing with how Rey was trying to do stuff with the staff, and then realized, well, wait, I have a lightsaber. That's when we started to see that transition into training with the lightsaber. So as that's happening, the Battle of Dakar is happening, and if I do think if Leia does get captured, to me, that is how they find out where Luke is. They read her mind.
Okay.
So you talk about the map thing. I think that's how that happens. I think somehow they get into Leia's mind.
Yeah.
They find out where they are, and I agree with you. Then Act 2, I think, is Kylo and the Knights of Ren descending on Ahch-To.
Yeah.
And then you're almost talking about, I think Rey then gets captured.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, I think Luke and Chewie leave on the Falcon, because there is that one shot of him walking into the cockpit of the Falcon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So he does leave the planet. And so Act 2, I think, in Act 1, obviously that's when everybody splits up, right? So
right.
you got Poe leaving with the fleet and evacuating Dakar. You've got Rose and Finn somehow separating and going to, do their thing, which is, I think, ended up at Canto Bight, like you said. And then, of course, you got Luke and Rey in their situation. So, yes, I think Act 2, there's some more some more space battles with Poe as he kind of regroups. Then there's there's Rose and Finn going to Canto. I think I kind of think that their motivation to go there is to find DJ. I feel like maybe DJ is there at Canto Bight.
Already on that planet, wherever that planet is.
Yes, and I feel like they have to go. I'm thinking that kind of like the Lando thing. They go there to get him, to help them get on board of the Dreadnought, to save Leia, possibly something like that. Because as we know, here's the thing too: is there's a shot of Leia standing on Crate. So somehow she has to get the Crate,
right?
And Finn is there, so I'm assuming Finn is the one that maybe saves her off the Dreadnought. But at the same time, Luke or Rey ends up coming to the Dreadnought because she gets in front of Snoke.
Yep.
So then my only thing is does Luke then go to Crate and meet up with him there, or heads to this? And then there's those shots where it's like, what's that? Where like what is that shot where Kylo is extending his hand? Like
Yeah.
I don't know when that. I can't place that. I mean, that looks like Octu, maybe. I don't know.
Well, that's what it makes you think. Definitely. I mean, I think it could be Snoke's flagship. Everything's crashing and burning down all around him. Because I mean, that's kind of what we think.
Okay.
It's like Finn's battle with Phasma. Like everything around them is just being destroyed.
You're right.
So,
but that's before they get the crate.
I mean, that's
because
totally
crate feels like the end.
It does,
right?
So I think end of Act 2, everything culminates on Snoke's ship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you have Rey there. I think you have Finn there. Rose is there. Poe's around it, out on the outside of the fleet. I mean, I think Luke could be there to help rescue Rey. Like, I think you see Crate before that. I think, during Act 2, you go to Crate to prepare everybody. And I think from there, Luke could go to Snoke's ship to help everybody kind of rescue. But the thing is, too, like, Finn's always been on his own until, I guess, at the end of Act 2. So somehow he goes undercover on Snoke's ship.
Yeah.
So he's there already.
I think that's how, to me, I think that's DJ helping out somehow.
Yeah. So, they're all there, and then relays to Resistance where they are, where Snoke's ship is, and then, they have the schematics, they have the location now, so they go attack the ship. And maybe it's already close by Crate. I don't know. Maybe Snoke's ship comes to Crate, and then they see it, then they go attack it. I don't know. But, because again, it's like, well, where's that? Is there a gap between Snoke's ship and Crate, or do they immediately go from the battle around the ship, to the battle of Crate? Is that like just a very seamless kind of one long fight, or is there some downtime in between there? Which I guess there might have to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Crate is kind of. I feel like Crate has to be established already. Like
it does
as a resistance base.
Yeah.
So they kind of fall back there, and then somehow the First Order finds out about it. I guess while they're getting, fighting on the Dreadnought or something like that. But but where that's the thing is we haven't seen Luke besides the island in the Falcon's cockpit, that we haven't seen him anywhere else.
Yeah, there was some behind the scenes footage, photo. It might have been I don't know if it was a Leibowitz photo from Variety or not, but it shows like Ryan Johnson, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill in costume, laughing it up.
Right.
I think, so you're led to believe, okay, well, they might have a scene together, right? So maybe they have that scene on Crate.
Maybe.
Or maybe they have it on Snoke's ship.
Yeah.
Maybe Luke goes straight to the ship, and, I don't, or something like that. But maybe then he goes to Crate with everybody else, or maybe that's where Luke's story ends, on Snoke's ship. Maybe they swap, exchange. I don't know. Maybe like Luke remains as a prisoner on Snoke's ship, or and I was kind of thinking, what if Luke goes to Crate, and he's the one that kind of defeats the First Order, our army on Crate. He kind of sacrifices himself in a sense, where he holds everybody off, and like that's like the big, awesome WTF moment with Luke, where he uses he just unleashes his Force abilities in a power that we haven't seen yet, to hold off the military, the First Order, while the Resistance flees Crate.
Yeah.
Then maybe it leads us to believe that Luke somehow gets killed, but really he survives at the very end, or there's a final battle between Kylo and Luke, or something happens like that, where Kylo has one last choice to either kill Luke or not, and then I'm jumping ahead here.
Well, no, that's kind of where I was going to go next. Is, I mean, we're I think we're in agreement, or we kind of know, or we're not know, but we're speculating what happens in Act 2. Act 3 is obviously we're saying that Crate is the kind of the final battle. Yeah. But in every Star Wars film, besides Rogue One, obviously, but even Rogue One, you can almost argue there's a lightsaber scene or a lightsaber battle.
Sure,
who is that lightsaber battle in this movie?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. And again, it's about, I think, where the order of the crate battle and the Snoke ship battle, because I can definitely, from what we've seen in some trailers, and Rey dabbling with some dark side there. How far does she go? We don't quite know fully, but it could be a lightsaber battle on Snoke's ship. It could be, I think, and it could very well be on Crate. I think it could be like another battle between Kylo and Rey, and Kylo and Luke. Combination of the three of them, or just I can't see it as just a take two of the Kylo Rey fight. I can't see it's like.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's got to be
another
Luke.
one.
I think it's got to be Luke.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually almost feeling like the Dreadnought stuff with Rey and Snoke, that scene we've seen in the trailer with him kind of levitating her, and
Yes.
I'm almost starting to feel like what could possibly happen is that maybe that Finn and Phasma fight or whatever, maybe that's not the Dreadnought. It's possible, because they do this in Star Wars movies too, is that there's a space battle going on while there's a ground battle, so maybe the stuff that's happening in the Dreadnought is happening at the same time, that it's in above Crate, and the Crate battle is happening while this stuff is happening in the ship. That would make sense why Luke is not on Crate. Maybe he's in the Dreadnought with Rey, and then obviously Finn and them are on the ground. That to me could feel like it happens that way. That way there's more of like, obviously things cutting back and forth, like you said, different storylines, because I do feel like, but here's the thing I'm struggling with is where these characters end up, like towards the end of the movie. Like, do you feel like anybody changes sides?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think Rey definitely dabbles with dark side just because she's confused and she just wants to figure some things out about herself. I think, she goes to Snoke, and then Snoke kind of taunts her and tempts her, and makes her do this, makes her do that. That ends up pushing her closer to the dark side, but then she catches on to it and resists, and then that's where Snoke goes directly tortures her, like we saw in the trailer. And then I think Kylo definitely, as we saw in the trailer, he gets conflicted, but I think he is definitely on a straight and narrow path on becoming this Sith Lord, if that's what he's trying to become, this villain. I don't think Luke goes. I don't think Luke goes bad.
No, I don't think so either.
Some of those fan theories out there. So, I don't think anybody changes sides. I don't know, but it could happen, I suppose. But
so you don't feel like, I don't think so either. Although, if anything, I don't know. I think if anything, that I feel like Kylo is still going to struggle because, again, we have that shot in the trailer of him struggling with what apparently looks like him shooting his mother down. Yeah. But I do think when he's faced with Luke again, I still think there's going to be, some regret there, or some sense of wrongdoing on his part. I don't know. I think similarly, as much as he is so much wanting to be like Vader, ultimately Vader redeemed himself.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like Kylo could be on that path, although I just so that goes into the next thing, is to kind of predict is, what do you think ultimately is Rey's background, and do we get that in this film?
I definitely think we get parts of it. We had our big roundtable discussion of the trailer, weeks ago, and I think you brought it up. I think Anthony or some, I think some people kind of brought it up and agreed on it, and I agree. I think I would not be surprised at all if Snoke had a huge hand in Rey's past.
Yeah,
so I think those seeds will be laid, and I think part of that can help Rey's distrust of Luke and distrust of what she thought she believed in to be like the hero and the good side. So I think that's what could kind of help confuse her to push her to dabble in the other, the dark side until she realizes that the dark side is in fact evil and more about hate and pain, and then brings her back to the light to Luke's arms. But no, yeah, I think we'll get a little bit. In terms of parents, like what Rey's parents are, I don't know. I can definitely see them not hitting that question exactly, but more so how she got to Jakku and what's her connection to the Jedi and to Luke, if any.
Mm-hmm.
If that means parents or not, I don't know.
I think I'm leaning towards. Again, I think the similarities with Empire. I feel like we're going to get told something about Rey that is going to keep us guessing until 9.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going to say, someone's going to say, and I think it is Snoke, because kind of like Vader, you just didn't know his credibility, like what he really knew.
Yeah.
Snoke, I think, may say, you're from here and your parents are here or something like that. And then it's like, wait, is he telling the truth? Or
point of view of the truth,
Yes. So then we obviously, I think, maybe find the truth in 9. So I think I feel like that's what they're going to do. Because in the end, it's like, how do you reveal everything in the middle episode, not the last episode, right?
Absolutely.
So there's got to be some revealing in episode 9. And again, I think what we've talked about last couple of episodes is I don't know how much I'm that worried about her past anymore. I mean, like I feel like I do want her to be related maybe to Luke or to Leia or to Kylo. I think that would add a lot of weight to the story. But I mean, right now I feel like, man, I'm just so intrigued by Luke and Kylo's journey right now, that I'm not too worried about it, because it could be just an original character. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, before we get into some burning questions I have to answer, just an overall feeling from you of how does this movie end?
Right.
Like, what are we left with as we lead to episode 9?
I definitely think, and we always keep comparing it to Empire, but I hate to say it's like Empire, but really it's more like any trilogy where the second movie is like a second act where you got to bring your heroes down really low in order to have a satisfying,
Conclusion,
a conclusion, and then kind of at the end. So I think the end of this movie shows a broken resistance. I think First Order definitely get a blow struck to them, but I think they do technically win the Battle of Crate.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if Luke is there, maybe he holds them off while everybody escapes, because we know, I believe, based on what we've seen in the trailers, that Kylo is on Crate. I've seen some behind the scenes things, like from the celebration reel.
Yeah, well, he's walking in the cave, right?
Exactly, he's walking there, and I'm pretty sure Finn's there, and I'm pretty sure Rey is there.
Yep.
So the Falcon's there too. So I think that leads me to believe that maybe Luke is there as well if his story continues on past the whole Dreadnought stuff. So I think it ends with the Battle of Crate. It ends with the Resistance fleeing to a new base, and they're kind of broken, but still motivated to move on. And the First Order is also regaining their resources, because they, and that's the thing. I'm curious to know what the state of the First Order is in after the destruction of Starkiller Base, because that seems like it should have been a pretty huge blow.
I think. I think it was a huge.
Resources.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a huge blow to. Well, I don't know, because I felt like a lot of people got off the planet.
Yeah, that's possible.
You know,
it's very
like
possible.
if Hux and Kylo had time to get off, that means a lot of people had time to get off. But
Phasma, especially, yeah.
But as we saw in the Battlefront thing, I mean, they have a lot of Star Destroyers. They have
true.
And so they're operating more in space than they are on the ground. You know,
but no, I think on a deeper level for Kylo, I think Kylo is going to be on a really dark path at the end of this movie. I think he's going to be way more conflicted, but also kind of stuck almost in a much darker place. Whether or not he agrees with where he's at and he's kind of accepting of where he's at, I think regardless, he's in a darker place and he's just way more conflicted.
Yeah.
About what he believes in.
Yeah. I will throw in a side thing, which actually is pretty awesome. I'm in the middle, or I'm actually closing in on the end of Phasma, the novel.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is her backstory, so it leads up to Force Awakens. But really, so what I was told from a guy I know, that the ending is really good. It actually is getting really good. The middle part of the book was kind of an up and down. But what's really neat right now that I thought this has nothing to do with the Last Jedi really, but there's a part in the book where, Cardinal, who is this other captain, the sense of the book is he's trying to find some kind of damning information on Phasma to kind of, because she's come in, because based on our background, she's not a traditional First Order stormtrooper. She kind of came into it because General Hux, Armitage's father, Brendel Hux, found her on this planet Parnassus that he crash landed on. So anyway, this Cardinal guy is trying to find some dirt on her. He thinks he does, and approaches Hermitage about it, and Hermitage ends up saying that he actually knows about it, and he's like, "What? It doesn't really matter." But it's one thing that was really neat. He turns to him and says, "What if Admiral Sloane was here still?" And as we know from Aftermath, Sloane was the one that kind of took all the Star Destroyers out to the unknown regions and started establishing the First Order.
Yeah.
So it's really neat to hear that name still, because I think Sloane has become just a major character. Oh yeah. In the Star Wars universe that you don't really know about it unless you read books about it. But it's funny how it was just cool to hear him mention that name, because I was just thinking, like, if I had not been reading a lot of books and just read that, I would have no idea who that is. I'd have to look her up, and because she's in Lost Stars, I think too, right? I think
Sloane.
Yeah,
I honestly can't remember her if she was mentioned.
I think she's mentioned. I think she's mentioned in that too.
Yeah.
But Admiral Sloane, Ray Sloane has become a big character. So anyway, okay. So I don't know anything else on. I think that's the timeline that we're kind of going with.
Yeah.
So besides that, then what surprises do you think you will see in this movie?
Well, at one point I thought it would be a big surprise if Snoke was killed in Last Jedi by like Kylo or somebody. I don't actually believe that anymore, based off just other things I've kind of heard and read, unfortunately. But lately I've been thinking, going back to Leia, and just think like, how in the world are they going to treat her character in 9? And then I think, well, it would be a huge surprise. I don't know if I agree with it, and I don't even think I would. I don't know if I would like it at all if it happened. But it would be a big surprise if they of course, unfortunately killed Leia off in Last Jedi. And then, I went back to thinking, like, what did they say, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, about her performance? And I think they said that they did not alter Carrie Fisher's performance. They didn't change her performance.
Right.
So, to me, that means they didn't delete any of her scenes. So what if, though, they kept all of her scenes, but somehow they show her getting destroyed and, like a ship gets blown up, or like the hangar on Crate, whatever they're saying, gets blown up, or Leia's in it. They just kind of do some clever editing there. I don't know. I feel like that would be such a crazy, almost a bad way to do it and surprise everybody. But I keep thinking, like, how are they going to do this? And so one way is, like, maybe they kill her off in this, but that I feel like that would have required some reshoots, regardless of the other actors, doing their thing, but reacting to what happened. So that would be a big surprise to me if they did that. If they killed off Princess Leia at the end of 8. That would definitely put our heroes at a really low point. That would add that extra. That would definitely take it down a couple notches. But other than that, surprise wise, like, I'm totally open and hoping that there's a big surprises about revelations regarding the Jedi, what it means to be a Jedi, and Luke talking about how the Jedi will end. I would love to know. I hope there's some cool information about that. And a big surprise would be seeing Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi, Force Ghost anybody.
Yeah.
Yoda or Anakin, which I don't think that will happen with Hayden Christensen. I would love it to, though, but I think
I don't know.
You McGregor, and
yeah,
and you're laughing because I agree. Like, they brought him to Celebration almost as if, like, to test the reaction.
And he was at the premiere.
Oh, okay, so I didn't know that. I did not know that.
He was at the premiere.
That's cool, man. Oh man. Yeah, I could so that would fit. It's not. It wouldn't. I don't think that would be just a fan service moment, because I think you have to have fan service moments, but you can totally write it in a very logical way.
I think fans. I don't know. I think fans would go crazy about that.
Oh yeah, I would be screaming. I would be screaming if I see that tomorrow night.
But the only reason, I haven't been completely dark off social media. I've gotten on there, obviously, because I've posted stuff for us,
right?
But I don't know. I feel like, or maybe Star Wars fans are just that good and they're restraining, but a lot of them aren't saying anything about what they've seen. They're posting links to reviews and stuff like that, but
right.
I feel like something like that would have gotten, like, just people just would have went crazy about it. But again, maybe they're holding back. So I do think my surprises is I do think we will. I think we have to see Force Ghost. I think there's been too much talk about it.
Yeah.
Is it Hayden? Is it Anakin? I don't know. I want that, but I don't know if that happened. I do feel like it's more likely that it is an Obi-Wan or a Yoda. Yoda actually makes more sense just because they can do it digitally.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to happen. I think that, again, we'll get a background of Rey, whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. But I do expect that we will see some major Luke power in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow he is going to just, whether or not it's a lightsaber battle or it's some kind of force power or something, I don't know. I think he's going to become the major standout in this film because the movie is named after him, technically.
Yes, that's very true.
So, but other than that, I mean, I think you're right. I think the movie ends on a down note. I think that, I think there's a major kind of regrouping on both sides, setting up the final conflict in episode 9. I think there's going to be a lot of internal questions with our characters from like Rey, from Kylo, and from Luke. I think Finn, I think Poe, I think those are characters that'll just continue to fight and not really have too much conflict going on. I don't know. I don't know what. I mean, obviously they're part of the resistance, so it's like if resistance takes a blow, they take a blow. Yeah. But I think Rey, Kylo, and Luke, that's kind of the core characters in the end of this movie that I feel like are the ones that can see conclusion in the end more so of episode 9, wherever JJ takes this thing. So but my guess is as good as yours. I think Crate is the end. I think it. Yeah, I mean, there might be a couple scenes after the Battle of Crate somewhere, but that's kind of the conclusion. Yeah, is that battle and whatever happens there. I mean, does a death happen? I don't know if a death happens. I'm not sure because again, I mean, it's not Empire, but in Empire, we really didn't get a death.
Right.
We thought we got one maybe with Han, but that turned out not to be.
Yeah, I just everybody keeps thinking that they're afraid that Luke's going to die. I just can't see them killing off another original character in this movie.
No. I think
I think he'll come back in 9 as a ghost. Of course, Force spirit. That's so.
But I don't know how you. I don't know how you win the overall battle without Luke, because this whole thing started with if the Last Jedi returns, a new Jedi Order will rise. It's like that's what the First Order and Snoke. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of Luke coming back because they know that they can't win if he comes back.
Yeah.
So I think if he dies in this one, it's like, then how do they even compete in Episode 9? Unless Leia somehow becomes, but we know that she can't really film Episode 9. So it's like you're changing what happens. So I think Luke has to survive to 9. And we see him now through the premieres and stuff like that, and he's obviously cleaned up and his hair is shorter and blah 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 blah. But it's like, I mean, you can grow that stuff back and get back in there because there's there's speculation of people saying, well, he's not filming in 9 because he's done. It's like, I don't think that's true.
No, and didn't he? I thought he got a haircut after Force Awakens though too.
Yeah, I think his hair is fake anyway. I think it's probably got extension. More, I mean, he grew it out, I'm sure, but it was more about the beard than, and he still has that. So, and they're starting. I mean, they're not shooting 9 until I think late next year. I think is what they're starting, or something like that, or mid next year. So there's plenty of time. Anyway. I don't know. Anything else you got on your list that you wanted to?
Well, one little thing, and I got the thought when I was just watching the trailers again today was, Kylo smashing his helmet, and he even has a shot where it focuses on the remains of his helmet.
Yeah.
What do you think that means? I think that actually has some significance, because the whole thing is he wants to be like Vader, right? And he has the mask, he looks like Vader, so. Is that smashing his helmet like a huge character change for him, like a symbolism of his relationship with Vader and what he believes is his dark side mentor? It's like a symbolic movement. I feel like destroying his mask.
You're right, and I get the sense that it has to do with the fact that he killed his father, and that he hid his face because he didn't, and I can't remember where did I read that, or where I heard that or something like that, that he basically wore the mask in the beginning so that other people didn't know that was Ben Solo.
Yeah.
That can't hide the fact that he, turned. So now I feel like Snoke is blaming the softness of him being still Ben Solo, and this is him kind of saying you got to forget the past, right? That you got to destroy the past. So he's destroying kind of that version of Kylo Ren where he's masked.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of become the unmasked Kylo Ren, where he's just, this is what he looks like now.
Yeah.
I think he's past the Vader thing. I mean, he's still trying to honor him again in a sense, but I think this is the face of Kylo now. Trying to prove to Snoke that he's not, he doesn't have that weakness in him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel like anyway. I mean, but there is a point where he still has it, because there's that shot of him in that red room with his mask on, and then he kind of leans down and picks up that saber.
I mean, I guess that it could be before, That's like,
I think that's right before he takes the mask off and destroys it. Yes, I think that's the beginning of the movie, kind of where he walks in and gets kind of an earful from Snoke.
Yeah.
And then he walks out, destroys his thing, gets in his silencer, and heads out to the car without it. So I feel like maybe the rest of the movie he doesn't have his helmet.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is that's kind of the Kylo Ren we've come to know. It's like, it's weird that that's maybe not him anymore. But now I just looked over on my shelf, and there's a character sitting over there that we haven't talked about. But where does Maz fit? Is she in this?
All right.
I mean, she's in this, right? I mean,
yeah, she is. Lupita Nyong'o did some scenes with her. I don't think it was as much, but
so she's like in the Resistance now and hanging out with Leia, or where? I don't know where she's at.
Maybe she only communes with Rey through the Force while she's on Octo. If she comes as a vision kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about
true.
that.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know if she's very significant or not.
I don't think she is in this one, because you don't need that Force advisor anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why you have Luke. But
maybe she gets behind the bar in the ship or something like that, and it's just a bartender. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't have Maz's castle anymore, but we got a bar in the ship here. You can
kiosk,
manage. Yeah.
Huh.
I would. I really want to see Yoda again. That would be incredible. I mean, again, on the red carpet was Frank Oz.
Oh, okay.
So there's these little hints, but obviously they invited a ton of Star Wars people, so can't really speculate too much. They're there because they're there. I mean.
Yeah, well, we know Lando's not in it. Rian Johnson has said that. So, where the heck is Lando?
Yes. Yeah, true. Something happened to Lando.
Yeah.
And that's funny because I don't think Billy D. Williams, I didn't see anything about Billy D. Williams on the red carpet. So maybe those people are in the movie that are on the red carpet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even if it's, I would be cool, even if it's Hayden's voice and not his spirit. You know what I mean? Like, if Luke is just meditating and then is talking to his father, I mean, that would be awesome too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, jeez. Okay, so I don't know. I don't have anything else.
No, I mean,
to speculate about.
To go on.
Yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at and where you're at as far as how we think the movie's going to play out, and we're obviously going to be watching this thing in a mere. Wait, what time is it now?
So
it's like 1 o'clock.
About 18 hours.
So we're talking 18
less
hours.
Than that.
Yeah, a little less than 18 hours. We will be watching The Last Jedi. Tomorrow is not going to go fast enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I want to try. I was thinking I might try to get everything done by like 3, and then just on my computer at work, just watch The Force Awakens before I leave for the theater.
Yeah,
because I was thinking about watching it tonight, but it's a little late now.
Right.
But I don't know. What else you got? Anything else?
Oh man, I'm just so excited. I mean, kind of like I was with Force Awakens. It's like I'm so focused on Rey's story, Rey and Kylo, their story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the space battles are always awesome, but the Star Killer dogfights and the trench run, point two that we got, it was cool. It was there. It was pretty awesome. Poe is a crazy awesome pilot, but that's not what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the same with Last Jedi. It's like we're going to get all these cool battles on Crate or on Snoke's ship, but I'm so focused on Kylo and Rey, and now Luke.
I agree, and I still go back on what Luke said in that last trailer. Is no matter what we say here, no matter what we think here, I truly believe that it is not going to go the way we think. There's something that we're missing. There's something that we haven't seen or we haven't heard that is going to really flip how this movie is going to go. So
I know that's what's
really exciting. That's what's really exciting. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like when we watched The Force Awakens, based on our conversation about it, like I felt like we knew what was going to happen, and it kind of played out that way, right?
Right.
There were some things that came up in Force Awakens, like the Force back stuff, that really kind of threw things off, and stuff with Maz and the saber, and just Luke's the quest for Luke. I mean, there were things definitely that kind of were surprising, but man, I just think this is gonna be so different than what we're thinking, in a sense. So I can't wait for it.
Yep.
All right. So thanks for checking us out on the day of The Last Jedi, if you're doing that. If not, then thanks for listening afterwards. And our next episode will obviously be our full review of The Last Jedi. We're seeing it again on Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
I've got tickets already to see it with my wife and daughter on Sunday.
I might see it Sunday as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to try to.
So I'm seeing it 3 times this weekend, and we will be back next week with a full review. So you guys have some time. Everybody has time to see it. We're going to be obviously giving a full spoiler review to talk and dissect about it, and then gradually we'll be bringing all people on, obviously, to give their opinions and thoughts about it too. So, we hope you go see it as many times as we do this weekend. Of course, if you want to go back and watch and listen to our commentaries of all the Star Wars films we did these last 6 months leading up to The Last Jedi, our last one being The Force Awakens that we did with Cody Geiler. That is live. I put that out there this weekend. So there's a lot of stuff that you can go listen to about our feelings about this movie. So enjoy yourself on that. And like I said, we'll be back next week with a full review. So, all right. Other than that, go to InsideTheForce.com. Get us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. And this show is obviously on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, or go to the website and listen to every episode right there. He's Kryptonian1138 on Twitter. I am D Cottingham21 on Twitter. Thanks for listening, guys. Go see The Last Jedi. For Casey.
By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced. Well, Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
I think he's going to be seduced in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Quite heavily by the light side. All right.
Cannot wait. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, Case.
All right,
Have a good night. For Casey Cooley.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm David Cottingham. May the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Inside the Force, a Star Wars podcast hosted by David Cottingham and Casey Cooley. For more shows, additional content, articles, and the latest Star Wars news, please visit InsideTheForce.com. Inside the Force. For the Force in all of us.